Beast Wars Season 3, Episodes 5 and 6, Feral Scream, Part 1 and 2. Two really good episodes, I think. Two surprising episodes as well. This starts off pretty simple. We have Depthcharge and Cheetor. They're in battle. We have Optimus in there as well. It starts off with Cheetor and Optimus, but it becomes Cheetor and Depthcharge because Cheetor was kind of making some mistakes. This is a really, like, both these parts are really Cheetor based, and they actually come off very well done. And this was one of the things where they've done this before, and I mentioned when they introduced the Fusors with Scorponok and or not Scorponok, Quick Strike and Silverbolt. That was like a two-part Western thing, so it was really silly, and they would do like the burn fade out and stuff like that. And this was like two horror episodes, because we have the beginning of it, and it's somewhat cheesy, but it's also pretty cool because they do a Frankenstein thing where Megatron and Waspinator are setting up what they planned at the end of the last episode, where it's like, okay, we have to use Rampage's Spark to stabilize these little raptor bots. And so they're doing this whole experiment, and it's a thunderstorm and everything, and they have Waspinator being Igor, which is really, really funny to me. And they go through the whole process, and it's a Frankenstein sort of deal, and they create a new Dinobot. So it's Transmetal Dinobot, and almost likely, considering what they show in the parts, I'll just show this picture. So this is the new Transmetal Dinobot. Not as cool as the original to me, but he's also not the same Dinobot technically. They consider him a clone. So he's a Transmetal. He's like Dinobot 2, and he's completely loyal to Megatron in this case. I don't know if that's going to change, because they do have a little moment early on, and it's kind of weird because it's not the same person. You know, it's Rampage's Spark, so there shouldn't have been this little moment, but I'm not 100% sure what the deal was with it. But it's the same voice actor and everything, but it's Dinobot, and they have this moment where he's attacking Cheetor, and he kind of pauses, and I'm like, okay, so he somewhat recognizes him, but this kind of doesn't make sense because this is 100% Rampage's Spark. This has nothing to do with the original Dinobot Spark. Like, there shouldn't be that sort of comparison, sort of deal. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was just the point, just to throw it in there. And then Cheetor, when that happens, he's like, what's that Dinobot? And Depthcharge is like, oh, it's a clone. So they're going through this battle. Optimus has to actually go back to base. And so I'm doing this way out of order, I apologize, but once I get to like the Frankenstein reference, I kind of just took off from there. But it starts off at the very beginning, before they're actually doing the experiment. It's basically just like Star Wars, where it's Optimus shooting, and it's Megatron shooting, and Waspinator's behind Megatron, and Cheetor is behind Optimus. And the reason I say it's like Star Wars is because these two were shooting like stormtroopers, and they're just missing. Like, they were at almost point blank range. There, we have Megatron and Waspinator. They're both flying. Cheetor and Optimus are just standing on like some cliff face or whatever, and Megatron is just blasting away. Optimus has the two, shoulder cannons come out, and it's just like do 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 do, and they do like a wide shot, and from the wide shot they're like this far away, and I'm like, what is happening? They're both just missing like crazy, and it was so weird. It lasted way too long. It just looked weird that they were missing at such a close range, especially considering this show, they always seem to hit each other when it matters, and it's like they were right in front of each other. Maybe that was the joke, I don't know, but they were just completely missing each other. And then eventually Megatron comes out on top. He knocks Optimus down. He gets Cheetor down, and then Cheetor is like, all right, I'm gonna get this stasis pod from them. And so he pulls out like it looked like a sniper rifle, but it shot a missile, and I think all their weapons shoot either lasers or missiles, so I guess it was a sniper rifle still. And so he's aiming at Waspinator, and he shoots, and Optimus yells. He's like, like at first he's like, don't shoot because you can hit the stasis pod. And Cheetor's like, don't worry, I got it. And he shoots, and naturally he misses. But he doesn't hit, he misses Waspinator, but he also doesn't hit the stasis pod. He actually hits the cliff that Optimus is on, because he was already messed up after Megatron knocked him down. They just landed in different areas. And so he was already under some rubble, and when the missile missed Waspinator, it also missed the stasis pod, and it hit the cliff, and it knocked Optimus like way down this cliff, and he got like stuck under rubble and stuff. So Cheetor was like by himself, and it's like, crap, this sucks, because I screwed up, and now Optimus is trapped. So that's how Megatron and Waspinator get to go off and do the whole Frankenstein thing. And Cheetor is trying to pull the rubble off, and that's when, Depthcharge comes in, and he shoots like one of his little chest missiles and blows all the rubble off of Optimus. And he's like, well, I smell Rampage's spark, so, F you guys, I'm out. So, his normal thing. He saves him, and then he's like, Rampage, I gotta go. So he leaves, and Optimus is like, don't engage them. Like, you go get back up. I'll make my way to base. He can't transform and fly, so he's in like vehicle mode. But he's like, you go get back up, and then you go back and get Depthcharge and help save him basically. And he's like, you know what, screw that. I can do this. I can make this work myself. So he goes in, and he does end up helping Depthcharge. They actually do stop them, somewhat, because they got there too late. Like, this new Dinobot already comes out. And it turns out that's why Depthcharge was there, because of course they use Rampage's spark to create the new Dinobot. So now he's got like 2 mixed signals where how he can find them. So that's how they end up in this battle. And then Cheetor actually ends up taking like the orb that they use to basically funnel all the energy and actually create the new Dinobot. He takes the orb and he throws it over to Depthcharge. And after he does this, Megatron shoots him. And he gets shot off of the little, like, he's using like a floating thing that they use all the time to move around. He gets shot off of that, and he falls into where the orb was, and he's caught inside of this electrical charge. And basically, he's just being electrocuted, and it spins him around. And then there's this huge, huge explosion, and it kills him. And so he gets, like, blown to pieces. And Depthcharge, everyone's wounded. Like, everyone gets messed up. There's like a ginormous explosion that destroys the top of this mountain. And there's like a tiny piece, basically, of his head that gets found. Like a part, like the part that was on his arm. So like the tiger head or the cheetah head, whatever. So Depthcharge picks up this part of the cheetah head, and he takes that with him, and he goes back to base as Waspinator, the new Dinobot, and Megatron take off as well. So he gets back to base, and he's like, he fought hard, and like he did everything he could. He fought with me, and then that's pretty much it. He like gives him the little cheetah head, and then he goes into the base and kind of doesn't say anything after that, because that's Depthcharge. So of course Optimus is really messed up, and he's sad about it. And then they cut to a scene back at the explosion, and they show that Cheetor is actually still alive. And I thought they'd save that, because I'm like, I know he's still alive, but I thought they'd save it for a little longer, or like hold suspense. But it was actually fairly quick, and I appreciate that. It wasn't like the crazy, suspenseful moment where it's like, is he dead? Is he not dead? At first, I legitimately thought that he was dead, and then I thought, oh, they're gonna do something where they like give like tiny little clues that totally give it away. But it's like, nope, he's actually just flat out alive. I was like, okay, so he actually survived that. He's just super wounded. And I thought it was going to be like his crazy journey, being completely wounded because he couldn't transform and fly. I thought it was going to be his crazy journey from where he was back to base, being wounded and trying to survive out all on his own, because they weren't going to look for him because they thought he was destroyed in the explosion. And so that's where I thought it was going. And then it totally changes from there. And so Depthcharge uses this orb, and he has it analyzed by the computer, and it's like, all right, it does this, it does that. It's totally changed by Megatron. It's of alien origin. It's changed, up to unknown quantities and stuff. And he's like, huh, well, I'm gonna get rid of this. And so he plans to throw it in some hot lava. During the scene when he's getting it analyzed, though, if you look in the background, you see Black Arachnia there. And so she crawls out, and she's on top of the cave when he's about to throw it into the lava. And he's like, never again, Megatron. And he throws it, and he just walks away, because he's like, I tossed it and it's done. But she jumps from the wall and uses a web as she's falling down, and she transforms in midair and catches the orb just before it hits hot lava. So she's got some plan going on. They don't actually talk about it through either parts, actually. Like, she gets it in the first part, and that's her only scene. And then in the second part, they just show her at the end of the episode, and she has the orb. So it's going to lead into a totally different episode. And it's not even a third part. It's just into something totally different. But after all this craziness goes down, Depthcharge decides, alright, I'm going to go back out, because basically I don't want to be with the team. That's just how he is. I'm going to go out. I'm going to, attack this place. and he gets captured. He actually gets captured by Megatron, Dinobot, and Waspinator. They tie him up, and I keep calling him Scorponok. Quickstrike is there as well, so they're all there except for Inferno for whatever reason. He just wasn't in these two parts. They just didn't show him, or actor probably wasn't available. I don't know. He just wasn't there. So they all have him tied up and everything, and it's like, all right, where's the orb? That was pretty much the whole thing. It's like, where's the orb? I want it back. And it's like, oh, you destroyed it, so now we're gonna destroy you. He's tied up to a tree and everything, and then they hear like this crazy scream. It's like a panther, and it's like, what the heck is that noise? And then we get like this first person perspective, and this thing is like flying through everybody, and it's like, holy crap, like, what the heck is going on here? Like, we can't see this thing, it's destroying us right now. It gets rid of everyone, knocks everybody off the cliff and everything. So they're like, alright, Megatron's basically super defeated. They even play like the defeat, like the music, like dun 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 dun. They play that music, and it's like they got defeated. They were destroyed. He's like, all right, time to retreat. Like he sounded messed up. So they take off as Optimus comes in to get Depthcharge, and so they kind of see this creature in the distance, and that's when we get our first real look at it. Because the other times, it's either you don't see it at all, or you only see like its eyes moving at like super speed. It'll be like in one location, and then it'll basically like teleport. It's moving so fast. So it's like, what the heck is that thing? And Optimus is kind of looking at it like, that might be, Cheetor is kind of where he was going with it. And so he gets Depthcharge. They go back to the base, and it's like, all right, we have to figure out, what's going to happen right now. Like, we lost Cheetor, and Optimus felt bad. He was like, I kind of blamed him for screwing up, and so he felt like he had to prove something. But then Cheetor comes back at the end of the episode, like, hey, he's super wounded and everything, but he decides not to go into the healing chamber. And so then it gets to part 2, where it starts off with Optimus and Rat Trap, and it's like, maybe he wanted to prove a point, that's why he didn't get himself healed. And Optimus is like, I feel like it might be a little bit more than that. But, everything's fine, sensors are all clear, everything's good, no Predacons attacking. So Optimus is like, alright, I'll see you in the morning. And Rat Trap, of course, is like, alright, well, it's so quiet, time for a little rat nap. And once again, I thought it was going somewhere a little bit different. I'm like, someone's going to attack, or, it'll be like two crazy things at once. I figured the Predacons were going to attack. But it actually just ended up being Cheetor again. So he's having this crazy nightmare, and he transforms into this new like crazy creature, and like this tail like comes out of his chest. It's almost like a green aura of energy, and it like rips out of his chest as he's having this crazy nightmare of a dream where he's getting transformed into like this grotesque monster transformer. And so he wakes up, he's like, oh crap, like it was just a nightmare. And so he's like, okay, that's really good. And then he starts to go nuts, and he actually completely transforms. It's like basically this green aura comes out, and it starts to transform him. And so he transforms. It's like this crazy loud scream, the same scream that they hear, the Pharaoh scream. And so Rat Trap, of course, wakes up, and he's like, what in the world was that? And Cheetor is like, banging up against this wall. So Rat Trap goes in there, and, he opens up the door. He gets tackled by Cheetor, and Cheetor, takes off. And so Optimus comes around. He's like, this crazy thing, almost slagged me. That's what happened. And he looks into the room, and he's like, he got Cheetor because he doesn't see any parts. And Optimus is like, huh. He's going kind of down the same route again. And this is slightly off topic, but it was really funny, and this kind of ties into the previous episode. But Cheetor has a picture of himself and Optimus in the room. Like, they had to do a little pan as he's sleeping, and it's a picture of him and Optimus from like the first season in their original forms. And then next to his bed, he has a picture of Black Arachnia, which I thought was the funniest thing. So that was just a random little thing, like showing kind of his feelings towards Black Arachnia and stuff. So they do that, and he takes off again. He's off in the wilderness, and they have Megatron sends out Waspinator and Dinobot to try to find this new creature, because he's flying towards them. I think Megatron said like Mach 2, and that's when we finally get to see like him in motion, and he has a giant rocket on his back, and that's how he was moving so fast. I was like, that's actually really cool. So they track his location. Dinobot and Waspinator go there. Waspinator is supposed to be in charge, but of course he gets destroyed. Like, Dinobot is messing with him stuff, and Waspinator's like, we need a plan and stuff. And Dinobot's like, I am the plan, and he like unleashes like his big claws, and he literally chops him up and turns him into like strings of confetti, and his head just lands, and then the rest of his body falls down like paper. I was like, man, Waspinator just gets all messed up. So they do that, but nothing really ends up coming of it. Like, they don't end up being able to take him out. And eventually, Cheetor wakes up in the day, and he's like, you know, he's completely healed this time when he wakes up, and he's like, you know, what in the world, like, how did I get here and stuff? So he ends up going back to base because things are kind of working. I was like, all right, you know, we have to look for Cheetor again because we don't really know if he's gone just because we haven't found parts. And of course, he has his suspicions that Cheetor is this new creature. And so they have another little moment with the Black Arachnia thing when she and Silverbolt kind of meet up at the entrance to the base. And so she looks at him as he lands, and he's like, you know, any word on, you know, I couldn't tell what she, it sounded like she said on the tibby, which I was like, I couldn't really tell what she was saying. But basically, you know, any word or anything about him. And he instantly got a little mad. He was like, you know, your concern is, I think he said refreshing when he said it, because it was like, oh, you're being more of a hero. And she's like, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, like, she kind of played it off again, and she walks away. And he got mad again. He's like, you know, she's concerned about this guy, and of course he likes her, and it started to make him a little mad again. So that was something, you know, they're kind of throwing that, they keep throwing that out there now. But it goes through, and, you know, it's like, alright, we need to do, they do like their first search, and it's like, alright, nothing happens. Alright, we're going to do another search. Optimus, I think it was Optimus, Rhinox, Rat Trap, and Silverbolt were out there. It's like, alright, you two go this way, and then Cheetor is like, oh, you guys are going out on a picnic without me. And so everyone's happy. Rat Trap's like, oh, you're alive and stuff. And Optimus is like, oh, well, great. We don't need you two. Because Cheetor lies, and he's like, yeah, I was out, you know, taking care of that thing that almost, you know, took me out last night. And Optimus was like, really? He's like, yeah, that thing won't be bothering us anymore. He's like, cool. So don't need you two. I'll just go with Cheetor, and we'll, you know, and we'll be back once we inspect the creature's remains. And so that's what freaks out Cheetor. He's like, oh, crap. Like, I have to figure something out, basically. But he still takes him there. He still has Optimus go there. And he's like, you know, alright, like, this is kind of how it's going to play out. And Optimus, this is something else that happens in this episode. I was wrong. In the season premiere, I said Optimus was a triple changer. Apparently, he is a quadruple changer because he still has a beast mode. I didn't realize that. I totally forgot about that. He still has, like, the mode where his face is blue. It's totally different, of course. He has, like, an orange chest, and he has, like, it's like his face is blue up to, like, right here, and then it's, like, an orange tube thing at the bottom of his chin. I don't even know how to really explain it properly. But he was in, like, a gorilla-like mode. I was like, I didn't know he had that. I thought his beast mode was basically like the Optimus Prime looking mode, and then he changed into flight mode and vehicle mode. And then it was like, no, he still has the beast mode in there. They kind of just like added it in just to have another mode for him. It looked cool because I was like, I mean, it looked weird. Like, it's not as cool as, you know, his other mode, of course. But I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. So technically, he's a quadruple changer. He has 4 different modes. Don't know why he needed to go into beast mode. But he did. Like, all they were doing were walking, you know, they were just walking through the jungle. So once he lands, he goes back and he goes into, like, the beast mode. And then they have a little scene where Cheetor's walking with him, and he's just about to, like, pick a bunch of bananas off the tree, which I thought was funny. And then that's when Cheetor was like, you know, why are we doing this? And, you know, like, don't you believe me? And he's like, you know, I think I already know what's happening. I just want you to trust me enough to tell me. And then Cheetor's, you know, that's when he's about to tell him, so they get into the big fight, and that's where Dinobot really comes into play. You know, like I said, he already chopped up Waspinator, so this is when they actually get to have their battle, because Dinobot's there, and, you know, they have, you know, this little battle. And what ends up happening is Optimus gets taken out by Dinobot because he has, like, this laser eye, and instead of, like, the original Dinobot where he would shoot blasts at you, it was, like, an actual laser beam that would, like, focus in and, like, sear through you. So he messes up Optimus and kind of takes him out for a quick second. And then Cheetor goes through this crazy transformation where he basically goes through the transformation of turning into, like, the feral version of himself again. Except this time, it's permanent. And he, like, his whole body completely changes and he explodes. Like, his original skin, I guess, blows off of him. And he permanently becomes this feral mode that he was before. And he starts off in a normal maximized mode. Like, he actually, like, it blows off, and then it's like he grew up and stuff, and he's, like, cooler and everything. So like this new mode comes out, and he's, Optimus is like, Cheetor, look out for, the Predacon. And he's like, oh, what? And he has a thing where like his rocket pops off and it becomes a gun, and he catches it, and he's like, oh, what? This Predacon? And he just shoots behind him, and he gets it. It's like a cool moment for him. But then something happens that makes him really mad, because Dinobot, instead of aiming at Cheetor, who's coming at him, he actually shoots Optimus again, who's already on the ground, and that makes Cheetor really mad, and it sends him into his feral mode, and he goes into beast mode unintentionally, and he's like, he loses his mind, and he like destroys Dinobot until he's like able to get out of there. So he and Waspinator, they don't really show Waspinator, but Waspinator doesn't die. He'll get destroyed 100 million times, but he'll never be gone. So they end up taking off. They're gone, and then the rest of the team ends up showing up, and it's like, we have to, like, what do we do? Like, he's in this feral state. And so Optimus uses a part of his spark, and he kind of gets in contact with Cheetor's spark to try to calm him down. Like, hey, like, we believe in you. Just, we're your family. We just need you to maximize and, take control of this feral state. And so he does end up doing that, and now he has this new body where, he's like grown up and stuff. And they have Rattrap make a funny joke, like, he went into puberty, which I thought was really funny. And so they have the ending scene where he's looking at himself in this reflection, like, huh, like, yeah, I guess it's a little weird, like, this is weird. And then Black Arachnia shows up again. And so she's like, so this is, the new you, huh? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And she's kind of coming on to him pretty hardcore in this final scene, where she's like, it's not too bad. She's like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, like a transmetal body, a transmetal 2 body on you doesn't look too bad. And I forgot what he said, but then she said something else, and he has like this little, it's like a, I forgot what the heck they call it, like a goatee. And she like flicks it, and then she walks away, and he starts looking in the reflection again. And he was like, yeah, I guess I do like this. He was like, I guess I do like the new body. And he like looks in the reflection, and Black Arachnia kind of turns and looks back at him like one last time. And so he's like super excited, because it was like she was really coming on to him in that scene. And then after he says, I guess I do really like it, as she's walking away, she's like, I like it too. And she pulls out the orb. And that's where it ends. And I mentioned, earlier, they don't say what she's going to do with it, but that's where it goes. Like, that's how it ends, where she has this orb. And basically how they explain it is like, it kind of does something, but the computer didn't know what it did, so they kind of just have, it's kind of just free reign what it can or cannot do. But really awesome episode. My camera's about to like really shut off on me. But I really enjoyed this one. Excited to see where they go with the Black Arachnia, Cheetor, Silverbolt stuff. But new version of Cheetor, don't mind it. If you guys have any comments, please put them down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.